The Jump, a Christmas tale written under the spell of Halloween by Cyril, Nida, and Olivia. After the lights are out and sleep has blindfolded all witnesses, the kitchen becomes a murderous place. The whisk, known in French as the whip, leads the gang mercilessly. The knives at the ready make their blades sing against the whetstone in a sinister melody. The spoon with distorted faces smile eerily into the darkness, spectators ready for the show. The rolling pin rocks slowly back and forth with the cold, calculated air of an assassin. A black cat entered the kitchen, swiftly, meowed, jumped on the table. Looking at the spoon knife's grates, he winked. "Hi, mates." "Hi, boss." "Let's go out. We've got work to do. The night is dark. Nobody will notice." "But what do we do with the body?" cried the whisk. The cat twitched his whiskers as he glanced at the snoring sleepwalker. "Oh, stop kidding yourself and move along." As the spoons giggled uncontrollably, the whisk sulkily muttered, "Oh, I hate to leave a crime scene unattended. Imagine all the clues we're leaving." The cat paused. "There was no crime. How do I make you understand? No victim, no crime." The whisk draped his loops with indignation. "Now you're just being unpleasant." The knives ushered him out as the dishcloth reassured him. The scene would be spotless. He would make sure of it. There was just this errand to run. The cat sprang out of the kitchen window, and the utensils followed dutifully, trying not to clang. As she climbed out into the winter night, the spoon stopped in wonder, her face bathed in a pearl-white iridescence. "Look! Look at what?" "The moon." "Will you marry me?" asked the dish, turning bright red. "Marry you? Seriously? A silver spoon like me, marrying a plate like you? Oh, don't be so uptight. You're just silver-plated." The spoon burst into tears, reflecting the moon like pearls. The cat turned at them, losing patience. "Oh, hurry up." "At midnight we have to jump to the moon, where us cats meet." "Jump to the moon?" whispered the grate gratingly. "Has anyone told this cat that the earth is round, that the moon is 384,400 kilometers away?" "Reality check," said the rolling pin abruptly. "You think you're real? This is a Christmas tale. Anything flies. I mean, Father Christmas flies with a whole set of reindeers, and his elves have become a parallel reality, so why not us jumping to the moon?" The dish, still hopeful, queried, "Does that mean we get to see the cow?" "The cow?" cried the knives in unison. "Well, yes," said the dish, "the one who jumps over the moon." "Well, don't believe for a second that I'll run off with you," said the spoon haughtily. As the kitchen tools chattered, they somehow managed to follow the cat across the rooftops, nearing a square where all the cats of the city seemed to have congregated. They approached amidst a yowling, meowing crowd, and in their midst a host of kitchen utensils. The cat went to see her friends and started to make the preparations for the jump. This time was different, as there were kitchen utensils. Most of them had never jumped. Well, at least not that kind of jump. The cats agreed on a simple plan. Gather them in table napkins. Cats would hold the angles and fly them to the moon. While the cats were planning, they heard some noise coming from the utensils. The two groups of kitchen tools started to quarrel and were ready to fight. The first whisk was spinning in fury. "Me? In a table napkin? Never. This is just humiliating." His counterpart whizzed back fiercely. "Oh, get a grip. The question's not the means, it's the end." "What a good point," raised the rolling pin. "What exactly are we planning to do on the moon once we get there?" "Who knows? Who cares?" cried the dish. He had spotted a pure silver spoon. No vile metal in sight. She was gorgeous, and he was under her spell. Her curves had something to do with it. Getting to the moon was his ultimate aim. Only under the charm of the moonlight would she run away with him. The plated spoon didn't fail to see the dish's sudden disinterest, and she was surprised to find herself terribly vexed. The silver spoon, meanwhile, was basking in the attention. The utensils were gradually forming into opposite camps, former friends turning against each other. Initially 2 groups, partisan for the jump and opponents to it, then 4 groups, as some supported the silver spoon and some the plated one. It also appeared that the plated wanted to jump, but the silver one not, the dish trying to convince the silver spoon to fly with him and the silver-plated to convince him to fly with her instead. And the silver-plated group teamed up with her against prejudices and discrimination. The confusion was reaching its peak when the whisk suddenly stopped. Hey, hey, hey! Where are the cats? Seeing that the utensils were hopeless, the cats had decided to jump, and while the utensils who wanted to jump aggressed the ones who did not, accusing them of having prevented them from a once-in-a-lifetime experience, at the same time on the moon. The whisk's sudden silence stopped everyone in their tracks. Then the cat reappeared, tall, tail high, eyes sparking. Enough chatter, she meowed. The moon won't wait for debates. The silver spoon straightened proudly, polishing her reflection against the dish's curve. If we must jump, she declared, then let's jump now. The plated spoon, trembling between fear of heights and courage, nodded in agreement. One by one, the utensils climbed onto the napkins as the cat raised her paw. 3, 2, 1. The flight was short, yet smooth and beautiful, like flying on a Persian carpet. The city lights disappeared gradually. Above the clouds the moon was brilliant and shining. Higher and higher, they could see the earth becoming curved, blue as an orange. The moon grew, gigantic with seas and craters. Already time to land, soft and smooth. The utensils could not believe what they were seeing. Millions of cats, playing music, dancing, and drinking and singing. As soon as they landed, one stray cat came close and asked them, "Hey guys, what music instrument do you play?" Silence. "What instrument do you play? I guess you know that only those who play can be here." Silence. "And what happens to those who break this rule?" Like what? The forks, up till now very quiet, took things into their hands. One summoned the grate, one the rolling pin, the third the porcelain dish, the fourth a set of spoons of all sizes. In a second they'd created an entire jazz orchestra. The rolling pin gave the woody drum beat, the fork against the grate the double bass. The porcelain dish rang like a cymbal under the stroke of another fork, while the array of spoons played the notes of the piano. In spite of himself, the whisk began to vibe. Then, seizing the spoon, he began to croon. The cats couldn't believe their ears. The utensils' big band became the attraction of the night. Cats joined them in strings, drums, and vocals. They all knew their classics, and it was so much fun, until the fork tried acrobatic dancing, lost control in a double salto, and landed on the cat's tail. Chomp! "Yow!" yelled the cat with the forked tail. Literally. The knives pressed forward to see how they could help. An amputation was often the better option, but the yowl turned into a hiss as the cat spat, daring them to approach. Instead, a lady cat swaggered in to see how she might contribute to the drama. "Well," she eyed the forked tail, "quite the demon now, aren't you, Mac? So what misdemeanors do you have in mind for tonight?" The maimed Mac was in no mood for banter. He just wanted his tail back. As for the fork, she trailed behind him, helplessly apologizing, looking for ways to free herself and the cat. It was then that she saw it. The cow. The one who didn't jump to the moon, but over it. Where to the poem didn't say, but there she was. The fork started to swing left and right to be freed from the cattail, and the cat was doing the same, more and more frantically. The tail became like a weapon, a whip with hard metal. The fork wanted to join the cow. The cat wanted its tail. Musicians wanted to play, but the fork-tailed cat, looking like a maverick horse with the tail on fire, was becoming dangerous to their neighbors, hitting and slapping randomly. The party security arrived soon and set a security perimeter around the strange dancer, looking out of control. The cow came close, saying she had a license to be a negotiator for difficult cases, including very difficult ones. She entered the circle. The cat and fork stopped moving, frozen in awe. They could not believe their ears. The cow stayed silent, trying to assess the situation. Meow, click, clack. Then the cat jumped on the cow's back. The cow stayed very calm, taking her best mediator voice, she cooed, or rather mooed. Let's all take a step back and try to find a positive in this situation. I believe we are onto something. From a showbiz perspective. A cow, a cat, and a fork and a moon. A crowd of direct spectators, however strange, and an online following direct from a red box situated in some distant galaxy. Somebody get us the little dog. He's bound to find this hysterical. The dish saw his stroke of luck. I'll find him. Meanwhile, both cat and fork had calmed down. The fork hesitantly pointed out to the cow that the show might still work out if she could play the role of the fiddle rather than that of the tail-puncturing fork. The cat nodded in agreement. The forked-tailed cat was beating the rhythm with his tail, swinging the fork on the cow belly, doing boom, boom, boom. The fork felt sick, dizzy, got released from the cat tail, swung into the air, and landed in the middle of a group of Yakuza cats with tattoos all over their body. The whisk and the grate joined, suggesting to add percussions. Knives lined up, ready to become a vibraphone. 5 stray cats with deep voices volunteered for the choir. What about starting with a folk song, said the fork. Boo, no, 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 mooed the cow. We want real jazz, like Fly Me to the Moon. My fans tell me I am the new Frank Sinatra. Oh yes, I know. It's not the moon. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. No, 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 Sinatra, la, la, la. Feeling that the conversation was going nowhere, the vibraphonists, drums and fork fiddles and vocals started to play and sing Round Midnight, because it was round midnight. The circle of cats widened around the music. The Yakuza cats closed in on the fork. He looked up. Tattoos, a gold chain glinting around a wild cat's neck, a scar slicing across his eyebrow, piercings catching the moonlight. Look, it just dropped from the sky at midnight, the cat hissed. His tail flicked like a windshield wiper in the rain, steady, deliberate, almost hypnotic. The fork gulped. Everyone stopped humming, waiting to see what would happen next. The whisk and the grate exchanged nervous glances. Then, one by one, the Yakuza claws came out and began circling the fork like sharks tasting blood in the water. Somewhere in the corner, the cow cleared her voice. Start spreading the news. You're leaving today, she sang, voice trembling. The Yakuza cats froze, stared, unblinking. With all her courage, she bellowed like a Broadway diva. I want to be a part of it. New York, New York. One of the cat's ears twitched. Oh, that's my favorite Frank Sinatra song, he murmured, joining in softly. Your small town blues, they're melting away. The cow lifted her voice, clear and fearless. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York. The Yakuza cats exchanged puzzled glances. Before they knew it, their bodies were swaying with the rhythm, tails swinging side to side. Then the gang leader paused, a flicker of nostalgia in his eyes, memories of Disco Studio 54 from New York flashing back, and he busted out a dance move. And just for that moment, the Yakuzas forgot their claws. The dish came back at that very moment with the little dog. He sat down, clearly discombobulated, trying to take in the scene. A set of mellowed Yakuza cats, a crooning cow, kitchen utensils laid strewn across the moon. It looked like the remnants of a rave party. The little dog didn't know whether to laugh or cry. His nursery rhyme had been ruined forever. Well, perhaps if I were to run away with a spoon, things might feel more familiar, offered the dish. And then the dog got an idea. He took a few jugs with him and went bravely to the Yakuza cats. When he entered the circle, one of the cats hissed and showed his claws. The little dog ignored, entered the circle, and suddenly jumped to the cat's face, his canines shining in the earth light. Don't you dare, bro. Then he calmed down and he asked the cats, Wadaiko o shite imasu ka? Do you know Wadaiko? The cats nodded. The dog put a jug in front of each of us and began to play the typical irregular rhythm. Pum, 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 pum. The fork took the dish and played at contrapuntus. Pum-pum-pum, pum-pum-pum, pum-pum-pum-pum. The rhythm got faster and faster like a wave. The cow was singing now like a flamenco singer, howling in despair, hitting the moon dust with her hooves. Pum-pum-pum, pum-pum-pum, chicka-chicka-tack. Pum-pum-pum, pum-pum-pum, chicka-chicka-tack. The Yakuza cats were in a trance, and the party had reached its climax when the big gong rang, and all the sounds stopped immediately. Time to go back. Thank you for being with us tonight. Have a smooth jump and see you soon. One by one, like a clockwork mechanic, every cat took one kitchen utensil by the hand and took the leap back to earth. They looked like a shower of shooting stars, the moonlight glinting on the metal of the knives and forks. The moon was finally calm. The cow winked at the little dog and took an enormous jump over the moon. The little dog rolled on his back. He laughed and laughed. In the distance, he had spotted them. The dish had run away with the spoon. The end. But we have two epilogues, one by Cyril and one by Nida. Cyril's epilogue goes like this. After the kitchen utensils had all safely come back to the kitchen, the dish proposed to the silver spoon, who gladly accepted, yet asked for the other silver-plated spoon to also join, and they have been happy together since. The cat told the utensils that they had been really cool on the moon and that she could introduce them to a K-pop producer. Well, the utensils loved the idea and went on a world tour under the name The Rolling Stoves, surpassing even Taylor Swift at the box office. Seeing this, the cow, the cat, and dog founded a trio, Cows and Claws, which also became a famous, reviving New York. Nida's epilogue tells another end. When the moon dust finally settled, they landed back in the kitchen. The dish and the silver spoon announced their wedding, and the room erupted in cheers. Just then the pantry door slowly creaked open. Out stepped the old teapot, shimmering with stardust. The moon chooses a group of earthlings every so often, she said, to remind the world how to stir imagination and how to whisk a little magic into everyday life. The utensils looked at one another. Suddenly everything made sense. The music, the dancing, the chaos, the unexpected friendships. And then the cow cleared her throat. Someday, when I'm awfully low, when the world is cold, I will feel a glow just thinking of you and the way you look tonight. The Yakuza cats gathered around her, forming a band. Their love of Frank Sinatra suddenly impossible to hide. They were ready to rock and roll after all. They'd secretly always wanted to be a Japanese boy band, complete with matching tattoos. Lovely, never ever change. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you please arrange it? Because I love you, just the way you look tonight. The whisk was the maid of honor. The knives and forks lined up proudly as bridesmaids and groomsmen. And the dog? Well, he was the ring-bearer, though he kept trying to eat the pillow. The utensils gathered in the front row, polishing themselves free of any